Good evening, everybody. Happy holidays and welcome to San Juan College. My name, yes, absolutely. My name is Tone Fetz. I'm a music professor here at San Juan College and the director of instrumental music. And I welcome you to the campus and to the fall semester San Juan College Symphonic Band Concert. It's great to have you here. Thanks for so much for coming out and sharing your evening with us. Are you guys ready to have some fun tonight? It's gonna be fun. I'm so giddy about this program. It makes me smile just thinking about it. You're in for a real treat. It's a delightful program of lots of different varieties of music for everybody. And we're gonna feature two terrific trumpet players, Mr. Ben Ludwig and Mr. Delbert Anderson. You're gonna love it. That first tune was a classic march called the Repass Band March by Harry Lincoln. That march is named for the Repass Band of Williamsport, Pennsylvania. That band continues in existence today in 2023. Harry J. Lincoln was born in April of 1878 in Shamokin, Pennsylvania, and died in April of 37 in Philadelphia. He was an American composer and conductor, and he became an arranger for the Vandersloot Music Publishing Company in Williamsport, Pennsylvania, which is the home of the famous Repass Band, and the home of one of our fine trombonists, Mr. Hornberger. This gentleman over here, Cameron Hornberger, is the director of bands at Shiprock High School, just started in August, and he is from Williamsport, so he knows the Repass Band. So welcome, Cameron. So the composer, Mr. Lincoln, served as pianist and manager of the local symphony orchestra and organist and choral master for the First Church of Christ. And at the conclusion of every concert, be it summertime serenade or in the wintertime, holidays, concerts, whatever it is, the Repass Band seals its performance last with basically their spirited rendition of the Repass Band March. And this popular, significant march has been a part of the band's life since its original band edition, which is copyrighted in 1901 by Charles Sweely and Harry Lincoln. According to the Instrumentals magazine, quote, the Repass Band March is the second most played march in the world, exceeded in number of performances only by Sousa's Stars and Stripes Forever. So you just heard history. All right, next up is Samuel Hazo's Our Yesterday's Lengthen Like Shadows. The 2008 South Carolina High School All-State Band commissioned Our Yesterday's Lengthen Like Shadows piece. Although this composition appears simple at first sight, it is very complex in a series of kind of what I call textured melodies that surround basically one ever-present note or tone. This note is an E-flat, and is sustained throughout the entire piece without any break. And it's kind of indetectable after the first several bars until the very end. When the ensemble, you'll get to actually hear them sing that note in unison, which is kind of cool. The melodies and harmonies that occur around this one note symbolize the events and experiences in our lives, according to Mr. Hazo. The one ever-present note symbolizes you, just one part in a complex movement of auditory shapes. Hazo gained a bachelor's degree in music education and master's in music education from Duquesne University in Pittsburgh, and he received the National Band Association Merrill Jones Award for the Best High School Wind Symphony Composition. And in 2003, he received the William D. Ravelli Composition Award for this piece, which is called Perthshire Majesty. And this is the first time in the association's 44-year history that one person had won both of those composition awards at the same time. So we hope you enjoy Our Yesterday's Lengthen Like Shadows by Samuel Hazo. Next up is a piece called Mosaic by Stephen Paulus. In the program notes of the score, he says, quote, "Mosaic is a representation in sound of the varied qualities each of us possesses and contributes to the whole of our society. As a kaleidoscope of various elements coming together, this work evokes a visual of mosaics, tiny tiles individually glued together to create a broader image." So this is a piece where one visual art is inspiring a musical art. It integrates layers of sound and varying meters that feature every instrument in the band. In the composer's own words, Mosaic is a work of many facets and layers. I have put it together much the same way that a muralist would make a mosaic out of little pieces of ceramic tiles. In some sense, it's like a jigsaw puzzle. Many pieces of sound are put together to make one big picture. The different meters in the piece, including 7/8, 2/4, 3/4, make for different sizes of musical bits. I also decided to orchestrate this work differently from the usual band work. So not everyone plays all the time. Percussion players do much more than simply beat time and are often brought in with the specific purpose of helping to color the mural. Many times only certain woodwinds play while others wait their turn to enter and add their personality to the mix. To me, the idea of a mosaic also represents a contemporary picture of our world. Vast mixes of people of all colors, backgrounds, and experiences who we might find living in any part of the world. Stephen Paulus was a prolific composer, wrote over 350 works. He is fluent in all genres, including orchestra, opera, chorus, chamber ensembles, etc. He lived most of his life in Minnesota, and he co-founded the American Composers Forum in 1973, and continued to work on behalf of his colleagues as a symphony and concert representative on the ASCAP Board of Directors. His music's been commissioned and recorded and performed by such varied performers as the New York Philharmonic, the Cleveland Orchestra, Atlanta Symphony Orchestra, Minnesota Orchestra, Opera Theater of St. Louis, the Washington Opera, Los Angeles Master Chorale, the Dale Worland Singers, Vocal Essence, and my favorite, Doc Severinsen. In 2014, Mr. Paulus's work, Concerto for Two Trumpets and Band, was nominated for a Grammy Award in the Contemporary Classical Composition category. We hope you enjoy Stephen Paulus's Mosaic. Mosaic, Stephen Paulus, some 21st century music. All right. Next up is Psalm 42, arranged by Samuel Hazo. This is one of my favorite pieces of the hymnal. This gorgeous and graceful arrangement of the traditional four-part English chorale, Psalm 42, is dedicated to the McCurry family of Upper St. Clair, Pennsylvania. His youngest son, Gregory, lost his battle with a disease called deletion I3Q syndrome at age 5. Hazo, who had taught trumpet to his 3 older brothers, came to know and respect the family well, and at the funeral, the first selection the congregation was asked to sing was Psalm 42. Mr. Hazo says, "I kept the melody in my head the whole way back to work where I scored this arrangement. 2 of Gregory's brothers, who were in the high school band at the time, played this for the first time in the winter concert of that year, and it's a tribute to Gregory's memory and the unconditional love he gave." So this is a traditional work that goes back basically to the late 1800s, but it's one of these kind of modern arrangements that I think you'll find very pleasing. And we are so blessed to have a wonderful soloist, Mr. Benjamin Ludwig. Please welcome Mr. Ludwig. We are featuring Mr. Ludwig on trumpet. He's been playing trumpet for 15 years. He played trumpet at the University of Northern Colorado and graduated with a Bachelor's in Music Education in 2019. And this is his 5th year as the Hermosa Band and Orchestra teacher. So we hope you enjoy Psalm 42 featuring Ben Ludwig. Is that pretty or what? Man, I'll tell you what, it's one of those where I'd like to rehearse that way more because it's so short. It's like, what can I do more in this? It's like, you guys are playing it so well. There's no need to spend time on it, but it's just so like, It just gives you the chills, man. It's a really cool piece. And Ben played it beautifully. Really well done. Really good. All right. Next up is a piece called Kalos Eidos by Carol Britton Chambers. Kalos Eidos is a programmatic work meant to portray the characteristics of a kaleidoscope. So we've seen the mosaic from Mr. Paulus. Now we get a kaleidoscope from Miss Chambers. Okay. I originally intended, Carol Chambers says, I originally intended the title of the piece Kaleidoscope. But as I began to learn more about the origin of the word, I became very intrigued. Most people know that a kaleidoscope is an optical device or tube containing mirrors and bits of colored glass or paper. How many of you guys played with kaleidoscopes when you were a kid? All right, good. I'm not alone. Good. All right. When the tube is rotated, I guess we should have had a visual, like, montage, yeah, like a visual representation. When the tube is rotated, an endless variety of patterns can be seen. But the work itself is derived from the Greek word kalos, which means beautiful, and eidos, which means form or shape. So beautiful shape or beautiful form. The word scope refers to seeing or observing, thereby forming the complete definition, the observation of beautiful forms or shapes. As I related to this music, I began to envision with my ears various colors and patterns similar to what one sees with the eyes when viewing in a kaleidoscope. The overall form of the piece is fast, slow, fast, depicting 3 main episodes. These episodes are somewhat different from each other, but they also share similar colors and patterns, as all kaleidoscopes do. The very ending is a reverse bookend of the beginning. In other words, sort of like a palindrome. The beginning simply starts and continues to get busier and more complex, while the ending gradually winds down until the kaleidoscope eventually stops spinning and comes to rest. Carol Britton Chambers was born in 1970 from Lubbock, Texas. She's an American composer, educator, and arranger, and she received her Bachelor's in Music Ed from Texas Tech University and Master's in Music in Trumpet Performance from Northwestern University. She studied under Vincent Chikowitz, Will Strider, John Painter, Arnold Jacobs, and James Sudduth. She is also on the music faculty at Texas Lutheran University and teaches composition and serves as composer in residence. Before coming to TLU, Chambers taught many years in band at Northeast Independent School District in San Antonio. So we hope you enjoy Kalos Eidos by Carol Britton Chambers. Carol Britton Chambers. I love 20th century music, but I also am impressed with 21st century composers, especially these young, hungry people that are working it to create new music that's accessible to an average listener. And this young lady is doing a great job. And it's great to see male and female composers contributing to the art form. So I think she's awesome. Did you guys? You can't beat the ocean drum, right? You know, see the ocean drum? Can't go wrong there. All right. Okay, the last piece of the first half is going to be American Folk Rhapsody #1 by Claire Grundman. This is the first of 4 American folk rhapsodies that Grundman wrote. This work originally was written in 1948, so it's an old warhorse. A wonderful example of both kind of U.S. school band literature and exceptional writing and arranging skills of Claire Grundman. This one includes the folk songs My Little Mohi, which is more commonly known as On Top of Old Smoky, or On Top of Spaghetti, whatever you want. You know the song. And then you have Shantyman's Life, Sourwood Mountain, and Sweet Betsy from Pike. So those melodies will be mixed in as a medley to create sort of this whole piece. And this is really outstanding, kind of proven work for both concert and contest on many state lists around the United States. Claire Grundman was 1913 to 1996. He lived in Cleveland and went to Ohio State University, was an American composer and arranger, and on staff at Ohio State for several years, and is one of 20th century's most prolific and highly respected composers for band. And then after this piece, we'll take a short 8-minute intermission and return with some more terrific music. You're not going to want to go away. Mr. Anderson's coming up and some really powerhouse music. So after American Folk Rhapsody, short 8-minute break, and then please come back and hear more. To a New Journey from Japanese composer Naoya Wada. A bright, young composer. I think he was born in, 87 or something. It's in the program. He's really young, but he's really good. And he's amazing at orchestration. You can hopefully see or hear all the fun lines that come and go throughout the entire band. So that's obviously an upbeat concert work with his use of creative soaring melodies, exciting rhythms, interesting parts for all the musicians. And it's a fun piece to play. I think they really enjoy it, so it's impressive. I failed to acknowledge one soloist on, I believe it was Carlos Eidos. Can you guys give a round of applause for our fine euphonium player and professor of geology, Dr. John Burris. My apologies, sir. All right. I always want to make sure I recognize all the soloists because it takes a lot to stand up and do that, but also because it's so important. And these guys are amazing, so they really deserve it. All right. Next up is a piece called Reminiscence by Catherine Salfelder. Reminiscence is one of 3 pieces commissioned to honor a man named Frank Battisti and his 85th birthday, which happened in June 27th, 2016. Frank Battisti is conductor emeritus of the New England Conservatory Wind Ensemble. He actually founded and conducted that ensemble for 30 years, and it's been world-renowned for a long time. They worked a lot in the Boston area and did amazing recordings for wind band performances and for aspiring composers and conductors around the world to be able to emulate and really, be able to learn the music. So this piece revolves around, she calls it a 5-note motive that was composed by Frank himself. The first one that Frank did was F, G, A, F, G flat. Here, Catherine transposes it down a fifth. So she goes B flat, C, D, B flat, B, and saturates every moment of the piece. So those 5 notes are always in the piece somewhere. In its entirety, the motive serves as the first 5 notes of the principal melody, and the first 3 pitches, B flat, C, D, morph into a repeated hemiola, which rises sequentially in the pitch as the piece progresses. The hemiola is kind of like a musical figure that typically there's 2 groups of 3 beats that are replaced by 3 groups of 2 beats. So it's given the effect of a shift between triple and duple meter or rhythm. And in rhythm, the hemiola really refers to 3 versus 2 or 3 versus 2 ratio. So you have a 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. Something like that. So somewhere in the music there's a triple feel. The other part of the music will have a duple feel or a 2 against that. So that's what they call the hemiola. And basically it's equal value of time, normally occupied by 2 beats. So three notes in there. And the motive's range, he goes from a major third and minor third is emphasized by the third relations in the harmony. So reminiscence evokes nostalgia, yearning, and growth. Some moments are peaceful, others are full of angst. And she says, I encourage both players and listeners to weave their own personal memories and stories into the musical narrative. She was fortunate enough to have first encountered Frank Battisti during her undergrad years at NEC, which is New England Conservatory. His teaching, his passion for details, and his advocacy for new, rich, and challenging music at all grade levels are inspirations. I'm grateful to celebrate him with my first piece for Young Wind Band, and this is Catherine Salfelder's Reminiscence. She, by the way, was born in 1987, another young woman composer from Paterson, New Jersey, Dr. Bramwell, Paterson, New Jersey, and she's an American composer, conductor, and pianist. So we hope you enjoy Reminiscence, Catherine Salfelder. that was Reminiscence by Catherine Solfelder, and it featured several people in the band there and doing some really nice work with a really difficult piece overall. All right, next up is our featured artist of the night, my main man, Delbert Anderson. This next piece is called Holy City. It's basically performed for solo cornet. The Holy City is a religious Victorian ballad dating back to 1892, music by Michael Maybrick, and writing under the alias Stephen Adams. There's lyrics to it. They were given by Frederick Weatherly, and I guess its sheet music sales made it one of the most commercially successful songs in the United Kingdom and the United States around the beginning of the 20th century. And I know that Mr. Anderson's going to speak about this piece, but I just want to say we're grateful and delighted to have my dear close friend Delbert Anderson back in Farmington, where he's home. This is his home. He lives in Kirtland, and he's a graduate of Kirtland Central High School. He's also, of course, the leader of the Delbert Anderson Quartet, and they are a worldwide touring group. And Delbert has come from basically a Kirtland High School graduate. He went to Eastern New Mexico University, studied trumpet performance. When I first came here in the fall of 2015, Delbert was one of the very first people I met, and definitely one of the finest musicians I met. We shared the stage with Sheldon Pickering over at the Tota Theater, and Delbert pulled me along, kicking and dragging and screaming as I tried to figure out what the heck Sheldon was doing. So she was like, "Hey man, don't you want to come play some drums with us?" And Delbert's like, "Yeah, just he modulates a lot. Just check me out. I'll help you." So Sheldon's an amazing musician, but sometimes hard to follow. And so Delbert was diligent enough to help me, guide me as a big brother, so to speak. And then when I took over this job, I felt I needed some more help. So I hired him as my brass instructor and also to direct the jazz ensemble. So Delbert did that for about 5 years before and through COVID, really. And then after COVID, when his quartet started touring again, he's been so busy with professional engagements, he's unable to teach now. But he still loves San Juan College. He took many classes here, played with the ensembles for years. He's obviously playing with us tonight. And we're just grateful to have such a world-class musician from the Four Corners region to showcase, an amazing person too. Delbert's a great man. So I'm gonna let Delbert talk about Holy City. I hope you really enjoy his performance.
Thank you, Dr. Betts. Before we play, and before we hear about the Holy City, I wanted to talk about a gentleman that's very important to not only this area, but worldwide. Speaking of a Diné, federally recognized as Navajo cornetist named Jacob C. Morgan. And Jacob C. Morgan was born, I don't know if I'm saying this correctly, Nahoteshkij, which is sort of near the Crown Point area, Crown Point, New Mexico. And throughout his life, he went to boarding school, and that's where he learned how to play the cornet. But this individual was so good at this instrument that it took him places such as Europe, Paris, all over the world, Germany. He even played with many different bands, the Government Indian Band, Haskell Band, Phoenix Band. These are all bands that he was just sort of touring with. And also the very famous John Philip Sousa Band. There are sort of rumors, and some of his family members that are still alive today said that he used to follow John Philip Sousa and perform this song that we're about to play for you, called The Holy City. And so this gentleman was very important because around the early 1900s, he lived here in Farmington. And he helped start the Navajo Nation Band. Those of you who know of that group, he was one of the first to go against racism by hiring a mixed group of musicians, and he would perform with his concert band every weekend, Saturday and Sunday, at Orchard Park. Plaza. And so it's very amazing. Those of you who know, that's where we host our jazz jams, every Wednesday. So there's just so many things about this individual that means so much, not only his Diné culture and heritage, but just the level he was playing on at the time. Those of you who know Morgan Lake, that was named after him. He was a minister, he was a carpenter, an educator, a performer, and even the chair, at one point the chair of the Navajo Nation Council. He was there right before Chi Dodge went into office. For those of you who know, he taught a lot at the Crown Point schools. He was winning competitions with the bands he was teaching all over Utah, Arizona, Oklahoma, Kansas City, New Mexico, Arizona. This individual was, top-notch all over. And what is just so remarkable about him is that, he was a community member of this area. And he later passed on in 1950 at the hospital here back then. He was here in Farmington and is now buried on the property of, I believe, the Methodist Church grave, which is located on campus at the Navajo Prep School. So he's there, and you can visit his grave. If you go outside, there's a lot of information on Jacob C. Morgan. Those of you who came in probably saw it. He's just an incredible individual. And before we start, I was on the phone right before rehearsal started, before we had to be here, and his granddaughter got a hold of me. Her name is Vivian, and she lives in Hampton, Montana, and she's getting close to her 90s. She's about, I believe, 89, maybe. And she said, oh, I forgot, I have Jacob C. Morgan's cornet. So we just discovered his cornet just right before this concert. So it's a very special day, and I'm very honored and happy to play this piece for you, The Holy City by Stephen Adams.
Check, check. How about it for Delbert Anderson? Native son. And I forgot to mention, Delbert and I started my band Funkified together in 2016. So come to Mardi Gras at Clancy's in February, and you're gonna hear Funkified play some fun New Orleans funk and soul music, which includes Mr. Alex Olivas over here on tenor saxophone, Mr. Kyle Price next to him on keyboard. We've got an all-star band. It's really great. So it's fun music. And Delbert was one of my first guys. We started together, and he's still a member of the band whenever he's around in town. And so we played Riverfest this last spring, and we always have a blast together. So it's been an honor to meet him and know him and to be able to work with him. And he's just a high-quality man, high-quality individual, and a wonderful musician. So we're all really proud of you. Thank you so much for sharing your music with us. All right, next up is a piece called Horse-Drawn Buggy Ride by Ron Decker. This should bring back some memories of a bygone era. Sort of light and breezy musical journey through a scenic country landscape. Brisk and lighthearted, you can almost feel the gentle breeze and sun on your face. Is that a good poem? As the pleasantly rhythmic sound of horses' hooves whisks you along in a horse-drawn carriage. This delightful piece brings the memories of that horse-drawn buggy on the countryside, complete with sounds of horse hooves and musical portrait complete by Ron Decker. Ron Decker was born in 1933 in Longmont, Colorado. He's an American composer, trumpeter, and conductor. And after being a trumpeter in the United States Air Force Band in Washington, D.C., he studied at Penn State University and also at the Indiana University of Pennsylvania. So this is Ron Decker and Horse-Drawn Buggy. And I forgot, somebody said I needed to tell a joke. So let me think if I can find one. Okay, what do you call a cow that can play an instrument? A musician. This is my life. Okay, one more. What is a cucumber's favorite instrument? A piccolo. Piccolo. Yeah, show them the piccolo. Okay, and last but not least, why couldn't the string quartet find their composer? Because he was Haydn. Get it? Franz Joseph Haydn, the father of the string quartet? Yeah, okay, I gotta play music. Check. I guess I didn't tell you it was a Christmas song. It's not really a Christmas song. He says it's a song for all seasons, right? But, you know, it fits. So hopefully you like that. Gives you a little sleigh ride feel to it. And, of course, it's just fun to play. All right, we got one last tune for you tonight. Before we close, I want to thank several people. First of all, you guys, the audience. You're the most important part of this whole thing. Thank you for coming out. Thank you for showing up and supporting live music here at San Juan College. Can you give yourselves a round of applause? Thank you so much for coming out and hearing live music in person and not online. It means a lot, and hopefully you get the feeling of things that you wouldn't get from a recording. I'd also like to thank our stage crew, which includes Julian Contreras, Holly Woodside, and Dakota Joplin. Our administrators, President Pendergrass, Mr. Desplace, Dr. Watley, Dean Rollinson, Don Ellis, Carly Serrano, and Joyce Vaughn in the School of Humanities. The Board of Trustees, and our technical director, Brian Paul, and our director of the Fine Arts Center, Margaret Clare. Can we give them all a big round of applause? I also want to thank Mr. David Bishop of the Tri-City Record, thank you, blanked. It's been a long night. Tri-City Record newspaper. David was nice enough to do an interview with me. I think it came out on Tuesdays, and I posted it to Facebook. He did a really great job, and it's a really blessing to have a live reporter in town to be able to share our entertainment and art. So David, thank you for all your hard work. If you're here tonight, I know you said you might come. And I want to give personal thanks to Gail Dean and the San Juan College Foundation for supporting the music department and giving us some wonderful grants, and also Josh Bishop and the Media Services for recording tonight's concert. And most of all, I want to thank all these super musicians on stage. You guys are awesome. Every single one up here means something to me, and they're very special people. They're also fine players, and we range in age, I believe, from 15 to 82, maybe 83, I don't know, fudging a little. So I think what's amazing about this group, and pretty much all my ensembles, is the diversity of the collection of talent. The ability for a young player and an older player to play next to each other and learn. And we have several really important music educators in this ensemble, which help lead us as mentors and as musical guides. And of course, having great soloists like Delbert Anderson is one of those. But I want all the music educators to stand up really quick. If you teach music in the schools at all, please stand up. So I just want to recognize these people because they work hard and they do a lot for our students, and also playing their instrument at a professional level, which is a great mentorship for all of us. So in the back there is Miss Melody Postoke, who is the director of bands out at Aztec High School. Say hi to Melody. On tuba is our director of fine arts for Farmington Municipal Schools, Mr. Daniel Fear. On trombone, you already met Mr. Cameron Hornberger, the director of bands out at Shiprock High School. Also on trombone, the director of bands at Heights Middle School, Mr. Cody Jackson. On trumpet, you heard the wonderful sounds on Psalm 42 of Mr. Ben Ludwig, who is the director of bands and orchestra at Mozart Middle School. And next to Ben is trumpeter John Patton, who is the director of bands out at Kugler Middle School in Aztec. On bass clarinet, we have Ms. Tamara Schlosser, who is now acting music director up at Mesa View Middle School. On tenor saxophone, Ms. Katie Patton, who is the choir director at Farmington High and an amazing woodwind player as well. Katie Patton. Just so you know, Katie is first call, first chair saxophonist for the San Juan Symphony, and she played amazing on our last concert. She's a rock star. And then we have on alto saxophone my good friend in Funkified, the director of bands and guitar over at Farmington High School, Mr. Alexander Olivas. On clarinet, the director of bands over at Tibbetts Middle School, Jennifer Lasley. And last but not least, our concert master, our principal clarinet. She's the music director out at Ananabi over in, is that how you pronounce it? Navaani? Avanani? Nada. I quit. Navaani. Kayla Molman. All right, I hope you guys had some fun tonight. I know we did. We enjoyed performing and we love playing together. We only get together once a week, but it's always the highlight of my week, and I know some other people's. We just have a really great bond. We have a trust. It's just great. We have a lot of fun, but we also make music and improve every week. And I think it's really important to be able to showcase the amazing people that we have and their skills and talents, to be able to share that with the San Juan College community and the San Juan County. And to be able to have that experience is invaluable. Live music is special, and I will always preach that to the end. And I think that everyone that's here tonight is touched in some way. And I know that we talked about this before, but we show music matters and music has impact on people's lives. And I think that that's hopefully something that you guys take away from tonight. All right, so I hope you had fun. We're going to finish with this piece called Dos Danzas Latinas by Andre Wagner. It's a dynamic two-part dance composition. The work showcases two popular Latin dance styles: simple, elegant opening habanera. It begins with kind of a delicate, reminiscent dialogue between what's technically written as solo flute and solo oboe, but it's kind of two solo flutes that you'll see here. And then basically woodwinds only are playing that passage for the most part in the opening. And then it moves to more of a dramatic, emotion-filled full band section with effective changes of key and dynamics, and accelerates to an exciting rumba featuring intense rhythmic material. Intense rhythmic material, I love that word. And effective changes of texture, colorful percussion scoring, and a rousing finale. So I want to wish you guys all happy holidays, Merry Christmas, safe travels, and bless you all. This is Dos Danzas Latinas.